Hey bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. This is the start of another reading vlog. Alright guys, it has been a little over 3 weeks since I ended my last vlog, so date-wise this vlog is going to span, I guess, like a month, but I really haven't been doing a lot of reading the last week or two, so it's not too much stuff to cover in one vlog, I think. Before we get into the books, I want to acknowledge that I have changed my office around, which you probably have already seen in previous videos, but I am sitting on the opposite wall of where I used to because I got that new desk that I mentioned in a previous vlog, and it is all set up. I will include some vlog clips in the vlog clip section of us putting it together and everything. So we got this desk right after we had finished building that PC that I talked about in my last video. I'm sure some of you are wondering how that new PC is going for me. I used that new PC for about a week. I used it to edit my last reading vlog that went up at the end of April. But I actually really struggled with the editor. I'm just very used to Final Cut Pro. I've been using Final Cut Pro for years now, and it was a rough transition to try and use a different editing program. I probably could have given it more time, but I was also sharing that computer with my husband, and while he always let me have it when I asked, it was hard for me to ask when I knew that he wanted to use it to play video games. The reason why we built a computer to share was because I wasn't totally sure if I wanted a PC. He also wasn't totally sure if he wanted a PC for gaming, and so this was a way for us to try it out. Turns out he really loves it for gaming, so we decided that he can keep the PC, and I ended up buying a MacBook, which actually hasn't been totally smooth sailing either. So all of that was happening in, a 2-week time span. It was very busy, very crazy, and I didn't film any vlog clips during that time period. After that is when the protests started happening, and not too long after that, I actually had a family pet pass away. I know I've mentioned it in passing in a couple of videos. I will go into a little more detail in this one just because it's a vlog and I feel like that's the kind of information people like to hear in vlogs. I'm gonna try really hard not to cry, but it was very sudden and tragic, kind of like a freak accident. My parents' dog was attacked on a walk, basically through a fence. Like there was a loose board on a fence, and this other dog pushed the loose board, was able to grab my parents' dog and pull her into the other side of the fence. There were 3 big dogs there, and she was, a 10-pound poodle mix. Obviously, that was very traumatic and scary, but we thought she was going to be okay. Her front arm or leg was broken and she was going to need like specialist surgery to fix that, but in my mind it was a broken leg. Like, that's something that you can heal. I thought she was going to be okay, and over the course of the week after the incident, her wounds actually became infected and she died of sepsis, and it was a very hard day. Obviously, I'm still healing from that. It's gonna be, I think, a long time. If you know me, you know that I love my dogs and they're like family. So it was very hard. It's been very hard on my family members. Obviously, they're the ones that lived with Jasmine. So anyways, things are not back to normal here yet. I don't feel back to normal. It's gonna take a while. Anyways, I wanted to explain that because I have mentioned it in passing in a couple of videos, but I didn't want to go into it, but I also didn't want to not talk about it either. So that's what happened. I mean, any pet death is really hard, but this was just very sudden and just not a good way to die. It was also very hard because of COVID, we were not able to see her when she was in the hospital. They told us that they would allow family members to come in if we were going to withdraw care, which we were not willing to do. So when she died, we hadn't been able to see her for all day that she was in the hospital, and she had been there overnight the previous night, we weren't able to see her. So that was very hard to not really be able to say goodbye. Okay, we're gonna stop talking about this, but just know that if I seem less chipper in my videos, I mean, I try to put on a good face, but if I'm not as happy as I usually am, just know that I'm dealing with some stuff. Okay, let's get to the books. Just a quick recap on some of the things that I have finished since my last vlog. At this point, my wrap-up has gone up, so you'll see, you know, my final thoughts. But I did finish Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I know I was really close to finishing it before at the end of my last vlog, and as you probably already know, I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed the way that it ended. I fully expected, I think, at the end of my last vlog that I would give it 5 stars, or maybe I was thinking like, you know, you never know when a book will let you down at the end. But the ending was not disappointing on this one, and I really enjoyed it. I'm super excited to continue on in the series. I have bought both of the next audiobooks from Audible, and I have checked out the physical copy of Thunderhead, the sequel, from my library for me to read in the next few months. It's on my summer TBR. Spoiler alert for that. Although maybe you've already seen my summer TBR by the time you see this. I also had been talking about Agnes at the End of the World in my last vlog, and I have finished that at this point. And I think in my last vlog, I was still in the part where I was really enjoying it. So I pretty much enjoyed the first half of it, and then the second half of it went downhill for me, and I was sadly disappointed. I just didn't like the direction the story went. There was a fantastical element that I didn't enjoy, surprisingly. It was just a little heavy on the religion, which I don't really like having religion, at least religion that exists in our world, to be, I don't know. It was a little religion heavy for me. But also I had problems with like the romance. It was a little insta-lovey, and I had problems with one of the main characters, Agnes's younger sister, Beth, who was just a very wishy-washy character that like kept changing her mind about how she felt about things, and I had whiplash from her point of views. So in the end, I gave that book 3 stars. I didn't hate it. It was okay. Not necessarily something that I would recommend, though, for people who have similar reading taste as me. Okay, so since then, I have started an audiobook. I'm in the middle of The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. This is the 3rd and final book in the First Law trilogy. I do own this audiobook. I have really enjoyed the narrator for this series, and I definitely recommend these books on audio. I am probably 35, maybe 40% into it, and I'm enjoying it. It's okay, but just like the other books in the series, I'm still feeling the lack of plot. It has a little more plot and direction, I think, than the previous 2 books, and I'm interested to see how it's all going to end up. I do enjoy these characters, and I enjoy the world, so it's holding my attention, but I'm not like head over heels in love with it at this point. I am doing this as a buddy read with one of my friends, Graf, and that's been a lot of fun. We've actually buddy read the previous 2 books in this series as well, so it's been fun to read the whole series with him. The physical book that I'm currently reading is behind me on the shelf. I should just grab it. I am this far into it. Page 110. It's A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine. This is another BookTube SFF nomination. I was really looking forward to reading this, and I'm still looking forward to it, but I have to be honest, I'm struggling a little bit, but I don't know how much of that is the fact that I'm not setting a lot of time aside right now for physical reading, and obviously I've been emotionally distressed, not only because of the loss of Jasmine, but with all of the protests, which I fully support. By the way, if you didn't see my video about Black Lives Matter, it's hard to know if my struggle so far has been more because of my emotional state or because of the book. I think it's a little on the dry side for me, but I do see that it's heavy on the politics, which is something that I typically enjoy. I just haven't gotten, I think, enough into it to know what is going on. Also, there's a lot of kind of like jargon in this book, which I generally have a lot of patience for, but there's still words being used at this point in the story that I don't know what they mean, and I think it's been a little bit of a frustrating reading experience. But I'm not giving up. I'm open-minded about this, and I think I just really need to set aside more physical reading time so that I can make a bigger dent into this and really get a feel for it. But as of right now, I'm feeling a little unsure. Like, I'm not disliking it, but I'm not enjoying it as much as I thought I would. And then lastly, I have started an ebook. It is an e-advanced reader copy. It was a book that I got off of NetGalley, and I was actually really excited about reading this. It's called Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee. It's the first book in a series called Shaman Born, and I requested this and was excited about this because it's an Asian author, and I think it's like, you know, has some Asian folklore inspirations and such. I'm probably like 10% into it, so very early, but it's not off to the greatest start, unfortunately. But hopefully things turn out for me in this one because I was really looking forward to it, and I would like to enjoy it. Obviously, I would like to enjoy everything that I read. But anyways, those are all the things that I am currently reading and the couple of things I finished up since my last vlog, and I will check in with you guys in like 4 or 5 days. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, it's Jade. So today is June 16th. It's a Tuesday. I think it's been about a week since my last update. Time has just flown by for a lot of reasons, and this time for all really good reasons. I'm still playing a lot of Animal Crossing, but I'm really trying to tone it down starting this week because I really am starting to miss reading and making videos, and so I'm trying to rebalance my time a little bit. Another really exciting thing that happened just over this weekend, it was totally not planned, but we added a new family member. You guys say hi to Toby. At least that's what we think his name's gonna be. We're not totally set. We like to kind of play around with names before we pick one, but it was one of the first ones we tried out and it's kind of been sticking, so I think his name is Toby. But he's a little puppy. He's a Maltipoo, and it was not planned to bring him home, but we just fell in love with him when we went to go see him. You might be wondering why I went to go see puppies if I wasn't gonna bring one home, but I was going with my family because they were going to adopt a new dog. After Jasmine's passing a couple weeks ago, my family has been wanting to get a new dog, which I fully supported. I think having other pets really helps with the grieving process, and Jasmine was the only dog that they had at the time. So I went with them to help them pick out a puppy, and I fell in love with this one. So it's kind of cool because my family, they got one of his sisters. So we have 2 litter mates and they're gonna get together often and play, and so I think that's really cool. But this little dude has been keeping me very busy because he's, you know, very young. He's only 6 weeks, or at least that's what they said he was, and he has to go to the bathroom every couple of hours. He, you know, doesn't sleep through the night yet. So my hands have been pretty full, but I am, like I said, really starting to miss reading and making videos, so I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I just want to hold him here while I talk to you like the whole time, and I'm sure you guys want that too, but I think I'm going to put him back in my lap. He's sleepy. I woke him up from a nap to show you. But look at him, he's so sweet. And rest assured that I'm gonna have a lot of puppy footage in my vlogs. But yeah, this is Toby. Okay, so let's get to the reading update. I think this will be really quick because I don't think I have a lot really to tell you about the things that I'm reading. So one of the books that I'm reading is a memory called Empire by Arkady Martine. I'm reading this for the BookTube SFF Awards, which, if you aren't aware, have been delayed again. We still haven't figured out the new live show date and the new voting dates, but I believe it'll be like late July, maybe early August. So keep a lookout for that on all of the social media platforms. I am now this far, puppy, I need to put you down. I am now 118 pages into this, so man, you can't really see. I've read this much of it, and I'm still kind of like interested, but not totally in love yet. My feelings haven't changed a whole lot since I last checked in. I actually don't think I've read a whole lot, like maybe 10 pages. And then my audiobook is still The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. I've slowly but surely been trekking through that one. I just don't get a lot of audiobook time these days. I am enjoying it. I still have the same complaints as I have said many times. I enjoy the characters, I enjoy the world. It's still lacking in plot for me, although things are coming together a little bit more. So I'm interested to see how things will wrap up in the second half of the book. I think I mentioned this in my last clip, but I did start an ebook. It was an advanced reader copy of a book called Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee. It's a YA Asian-inspired fantasy, and it's one that I've had my eye on for a while. It comes out in June, I think next week for me, but this will be posted after it comes out. And I was really excited about it. I am 25% through it, and I am very sad to say that I think I'm going to DNF it. I'm just not enjoying it for a lot of different reasons. Some of it is like writing style and storytelling. I know that recently I've kind of complained about a number of books saying that I didn't think they had enough internal monologue and that I didn't get to know the characters well enough, but this book I feel like has too much internal dialogue, which obviously is a bit of a subjective thing. There have been so many moments where I'm reading the character's internal monologue and it goes on for so long that I'm like, okay, what is she doing right now? It seems like there's way more thinking time than what is like physically happening in the book. But I also am not like super enjoying the world building and the magic, even though I thought that I would. But yeah, it's really not holding my attention. Every time I go to read it, which is every night because it's my ebook currently, I'm just kind of like dreading it and I'm not enjoying it. So I think I'm going to do what's going to be best for my mental health and reading experience and just DNF it, even though I was really looking forward to this one. And then lastly, I recently started reading this chunker, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. There is a read-along for this series happening right now. Even though I hadn't planned on starting this series, now I decided to jump on the read-along train. I love reading books, especially like complex stories, with other people so that we can like discuss it and things, and there's going to be a series of live shows. I'll link one of the announcement videos down below. So I decided to jump on board and try and participate, but honestly, I haven't read this enough. So I'm supposed to have read this much of it by Thursday, which is in 2 days, and I am currently on page 17. I've only read this much of it. I've been trying to pick it up, but I just haven't been making enough time for reading, and it hasn't been happening. So I think I'm gonna miss this first live show, sadly, but I'm still planning to try and catch up and be able to catch the other live shows. I like that they're reading this at a slower pace, so it's basically one book every 2 months, so that way, in theory, I can kind of like squeeze it around the rest of my TBR and other things that I want to read. I will also mention that this is technically a reread for me. I have read at least this first book, maybe even the second one, but it's been 10 years, at least, since I've read them. So it's kind of a reread, but kind of a fresh read at the same time. The next book in the series is coming out this fall, and that's why there is a read-along happening for it. But I'm sure a lot of you will be really excited that I'm picking this up, and I'm really kicking myself for not being further in it because I wanted to make the next live show, and I don't think I'm going to. Those are all the things that I've been reading. Hopefully I can read more over the next like 4 or 5 days before I end this reading vlog. Anyways, I'm gonna go enjoy all of the puppy footage that you're gonna get to see after I stop talking. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, so I'm here to end this vlog. Today is the 23rd, so I think it's been over a week since I did my last update. Honestly, I have barely been reading. I've been reading more this last week than I did a couple weeks before that, but I haven't finished anything and I don't know, I haven't been doing well. So this clip is going to be mostly like another life update, like I feel like this whole vlog is. So if you're only here for the books, you can probably just click off now. I will update you on my reading. I just haven't read very much and most of my thoughts haven't changed. So I don't know if it's worth it to you to hang around. But I wanted to give you a bit of a life update. So the main reason why I didn't read much over the last week was related to the puppy. So I mentioned that we bought these puppies off of Craigslist and that the sellers told us that they were 6 weeks old. They even gave us some paperwork for the shots that they had already received. Well, I took my puppy to the vet like on Wednesday, a day or two after I filmed that last clip, and I kind of thought that maybe they had lied to us about how old the dogs were. And that was confirmed. Apparently, we brought home 4-week-old puppies, which absolutely broke my heart because that is so early to be taken away from their mamas. But the reality is those people were gonna sell these pups at this age no matter what. So in some ways, I'm grateful that me and my family brought home 2 of the dogs because we are pretty good dog parents and try to take really good care of our pets. We found out that the shot records that they had given us were completely fake, which to me just blows my mind. That I feel like that's like a whole extra step of lying to people, creating fake paperwork. I mean, I don't know what was going on with these people. Maybe because of the pandemic, they're having a really hard time. I'm not saying that excuses what they did, but I'm also trying not to judge them too much. But they did totally take advantage of us and take advantage of these puppies. Anyways, Wednesday, we brought the puppy home from the vet and started him on some new medicines and things, and he got really sick. I'm sure some of it was the medicines working. Basically, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and half of Saturday, I was having a really hard time getting the puppy to eat. It was very up and down. Like, he would eat a couple of good meals and then like wouldn't eat for like 10 to 12 hours, which is really not good for these little tiny babies. They're supposed to be eating like every 3 to 4 hours to keep their glucose levels up, and just because they're so little, they can't fit a lot in their stomach, so they need to eat often to be able to stay healthy. And my little guy was just really struggling to eat, and it was a bit of a roller coaster. Like I said, sometimes he would eat well and then sometimes he wouldn't. And when he would eat well, I would be so relieved and think, okay, he's fine, you know, he's gonna keep eating now. But then he wouldn't, and he'd be so lethargic, and I just could tell that he was not feeling well. And I took him back to the vet a couple of times. We added on a bunch of meds. At one point, he was on 7 different medicines, poor little guy. But the good news is that starting Saturday afternoon, like in the evening, he started eating again and has been eating like a champ since. So I think we're out of the woods there. But I am still a little bit on high alert because his sister, the littermate that my family adopted, was hospitalized on Saturday because she has parvo, which is a very scary virus for little puppies. She is still hospitalized and still needing a lot of medical attention, but we are very hopeful that she's going to pull through, especially considering she's made it this far. The first few days after a parvo diagnosis are usually the worst, so we think she's on the mend. But I don't know if my little guy had a more mild case of parvo that we were able to treat with the medicines that we have, or he never had it, or maybe he's still incubating and might still get sick this next week. Needless to say, it was a very stressful week last week. I lost a lot of sleep. I was so stressed out at some points. I almost had a panic attack last Friday. I haven't had a panic attack since I was in college. So I just have not been mentally doing very well. Anyways, all of that to say that I haven't been reading much. Oh, actually, on top of that, The Last of Us Part 2, it's a video game on PlayStation, came out last Friday. I had actually taken the day off of work and my husband and I had planned to like play all weekend, but with the puppy being so sick, that didn't really pan out, but we have been playing. I think we're probably like 15 hours into the game now. We really enjoyed the first one and we've been looking forward to the sequel for a long time, so we were very excited to play it, and so obviously that has been taking up some of my time as well. So I'm trying to juggle, responsibilities with the puppy that I have to feed like every 3 hours. Granted, I have help with that from my husband. We're trying to play The Last of Us Part 2. I'm trying to keep up with like my daily tasks on Animal Crossing. I play at least like an hour to an hour and a half every day. And then on top of that, I'm trying to squeeze in reading and booktubing. So it's been a lot. Okay, now for the quick little bit of reading updates that I have. I am still reading a memory called Empire, but I have made progress. I am now on page 150. I believe I'm a little over 30% into it. That's this much that I've read. I'm still not like in love with it. I'm still interested. It's just a little dry. And honestly, the culture and the world building and the politics are kind of really complex. Generally, I don't struggle with politics too much, but occasionally I do come across books where I feel like the political things are kind of going over my head. And that's how I feel about this book. I thought at first that I just hadn't given myself enough time to really become acquainted with things. And I think that's definitely an element of it. But also, I do think it is just a little bit more of a difficult book, a little more cerebral than what I enjoy reading. There is a bit of a mystery element, and so I'm interested to see, the resolution to that mystery if we get it. I'm still hopeful that it can turn out for me, but right now I'm feeling pretty lukewarm about it. I've also read more in The Last Argument of Kings. I did the math last night, and I think that I'm now 56% through. So I do only have this book on audio, so it makes it a little bit hard to know exactly how far. It's kind of a guesstimate. But my thoughts haven't really changed. I'm enjoying it, but not loving it. My biggest complaint is the lack of plot. I like the characters. I sound like a parrot. I say that every time. So that's where I'm at with that. And then I mentioned in my last clip that I was starting The Way of Kings, and I have read a little bit more in that just over the last couple of days. I am now on page 72, which is about 7% into it. And I'm really enjoying it. And honestly, after being in such a reading slump, it just feels really good to be in a Sanderson book. I love when I read a fantasy world that is like so unique and different. Like the kinds of plants and wildlife in this world are just really different and just really cool. I love Sanderson's world building. I love his writing style. It reminds me a lot of Robert Jordan's writing style, which obviously I love, but tighter. Like there's less exposition, less description, but other things are really similar style-wise, and I really enjoy it. It feels really good to be reading one of his books, and I think it's really going to help me get out of my reading slump. Alright guys, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. That is all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye.